Hello and welcome to Lex-Praxis channel. In today's video, I'll basically be discussing why a shareholders agreement is very important. In fact, not just important, it is very essential. Before we proceed or go further, I'll be creating two simple illustrations to help you understand this topic and to make this conversation simple for you to understand. The illustration that I'll be using is that of a relationship. You know, at the beginning of a relationship, everything looks perfect. There is love, there is constant communication, there is mutual understanding, and there is trust. In fact, both parties believe that nothing can go wrong in the relationship. But as the relationship goes on, they begin to observe that there are changes in their relationship. Maybe after a few months later, the level of communication have already reduced, and both parties or one of the parties wakes up one morning and say that he or she is no longer interested to continue with the relationship. Now, this same thing happens in business, especially when the business is formed by two or more people. At the beginning of the business, everything is perfect. The business is going normal. The decisions are made together. There is trust and everything is going smoothly. But as the business grows or expands, we discover that conflicts can arise. Decisions are no longer made together, and gradually the trust in the company begins to break down. Now, the difference between these two illustrations I've created is that in business, you don't have to wait until something goes wrong for you to protect your interests. Under the law, there is a structure, a system the law have provided that should be in place to be able to guide every member of the company and also to help to resolve disputes when they arise. Because of course, in every company, business organization, disputes, disagreements or conflicts are bound to arise. But the only difference here is that there is a structure in place to be able to handle such situation, and this structure is known as shareholders agreement. This is what shareholders agreement really does. That is why, if you could recall, at the beginning of the conversation, I mentioned that this agreement is not just important, it is very essential. So, at the end of today's video, you are going to have a clear understanding what this agreement is all about, why it is very important, and we'll also consider who needs this agreement and when is the best time to have this agreement. So first and foremost, let's define what shareholders agreement is all about. Basically, shareholder agreement is a legally binding document that defines how a company should operate and clearly outlines the rights, duties, and obligations of every shareholder to ensure fairness and to protect the interests of persons with smaller shares in the company. Now, for better understanding, let me paint a quick picture to simplify the meaning of what a shareholders agreement is all about. Imagine when a company is set up by three persons. We have Mr. A, B, and C. And then Mr. A owns 70% shares of the company, while Mr. B owns 20% shares of the company, and then Mr. C owns 10% shares of the company. Given the fact that Mr. A owns 70% shares, that means he owns the majority of the shares in the company, he may feel that he has the right to decide or take decision on his own without informing Mr. B and Mr. C. This is because the law provides that without a shareholders agreement, Mr. B and Mr. A may have little or no protection, regardless of the fact that they contributed significantly in the company. But with a shareholders agreement in place, Mr. A cannot decide or take decision on its own without informing Mr. B and Mr. C. That is why this agreement does not just protect you, it protects your position and protects your investment. It's important for us to understand why you should have this shareholders agreement. So I'm going to be outlining 6 reasons why this agreement is very important. Number 1, it helps to control transfer of shares in the company. 2, it helps to control how decisions are made. And number 3, it helps to protect the interest of the minority shareholders in the company. It protects your investment. It helps to resolve dispute. And the last one is that it helps to maintain trust and stability in the company. You might be wondering, who needs this agreement? The law provides that shareholders agreement is essentially for a company, especially when the company is to be formed or will be formed by 2 or more persons, particularly for startup, family business, and company with external investors. It's very important for you to know when to have this agreement. Ideally, the law provides that this agreement must be in place before forming a company. So before a company will be formed, it's important that all the shareholders signs the agreement to avoid dispute, or even when dispute arises, this agreement will help to handle such situation. Now, if you're looking forward to form a company with 2 or more persons, it's important for you to have this agreement. And in doing that, you need to engage a lawyer who is an expert in drafting this agreement to ensure that it complies with the provision of the law. And for more inquiries about this agreement, feel free to reach out to us through our contact details on the screen. And if you found this video helpful, do well to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.